Hello Internet, welcome to Lex Universe. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah and Kwanza, and in advance, Happy Ramadan. Another year has passed and we are here again to discuss what it brought to us, what it took from us, how it generally was, and what are our outlooks to the future. I'm not really the person who celebrates Christmas and New Year's Eve every year, but I guess that's kind of something that we should do, and generally I have another thing to celebrate, so why not wrap it up all together and take some look back and what we have experienced so far. Let's go. Well, first of all, I would like to welcome all of my new subscribers in this channel. You made my day, you made my year. Actually, I have just celebrated, or like a month ago, I have celebrated 5,000 subscribers. That's an enormous number. I'm really happy about that, and I owe that much gratitude to all of you. Thank you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, well, consider doing it, because it doesn't cost you anything and it helps me upgrade you. So these are the three things that we will celebrate in this video. Christmas, which is already passed, so Merry Christmas, but unfortunately I'm a bit late for that. Happy New Year, I hope you will enjoy the New Year's Eve and you will not get drunk or, like blown away with the fireworks. And we will celebrate my 5,000th subscribers. So 2022 is over. When I was filming a video like this last year, I was so happy that we finally got rid of 2021 because, well, it was a horrible year. And then 2022 came, and while we had the chance to return back to normal, well, everything went batshit crazy, and now here we are at the end of 2022, and we can honestly say that it was one horrible year again. But let's not be all negative. The truth is, there were some horrible things that happened this year. I don't have to mention the large crisis in energy and in prices, the inflation. I don't have to mention the war in Ukraine, because everybody knows what's going on. And it's not a very celebratory thing to do. But there were also some good things that happened this year, and, well, let's think about them. Funny thing is, I can't remember one single one of them. Yeah, let's beep it out. Anyway, for me personally, this year was a roller coaster. I've actually finally gotten off from the COVID-induced coma that I was in the previous 2 years. I mean, I was traveling, but not a lot and not too far away, because traveling during COVID, as you may remember, it was like, let's see which countries are open and, well, let's plan ahead according to that. And in many cases, this didn't happen at all. I mean, you may remember my trip to Canada. If you haven't seen it, you will see the playlist in the upper right corner. That was originally supposed to be Tokyo in Japan, but So I started 2022 with a lot of good thoughts. I was prepared for some new adventures, for something great, and, well, yeah, the truth is, I have achieved some of my goals that I had in the beginning of this year. I went to Asia twice, that even a year ago I wasn't sure I was gonna achieve, because it may seem like a long history from now, but do you remember the beginning of 2022? We had no idea that the pandemic will generally stop to a halt within a month. And that's what happened. I mean, when I was in Sri Lanka in January, I still had no idea that it will that it would be, in the end, the last trip under quite strict COVID conditions. Because later, it kind of stopped existing anymore. I mean, the truth is, partially it was overtaken in media and in the public domain by the war in Ukraine, but even from the scientific part, the disease stopped being interesting. And right now, the majority of the world is open. Like, actually, there's only one country in the world at the beginning of 2022 that still does have strict COVID conditions when you want to arrive, and that's North Korea. Even China has already stopped their crazy approach to zero COVID, and They no longer require quarantine for incoming travelers from the beginning of 2023, which should tell us the next year will be fine, right? Because the COVID is gone, the war will eventually also end. The current depression or recession, or I'm not an economist, but the crisis that we are living will pass. Maybe not next year, but it will pass eventually. And for the first time in 3 years, we may actually be on the road to come back to normal. And that's something that I find really positive. So, what about the next year? I have so much planned for you. Like, in January, I will visit one of the most exotic countries I've ever even thought about, and that's Saudi Arabia, which is open to tourism in the end, just shortly before the world pandemic, so not so many people were there as tourists in the entirety of their existence, actually. So that will be something definitely very interesting. I've probably never visited a country that was not that fit for tourists as Saudi Arabia, not to mention there are some other aspects that should be considered to it. But well, it's not the end of the year, it's just the beginning. Then I have planned to visit to Bahrain, which is just across the short strait from Saudi Arabia. Then I want to take you to Armenia, another country in Caucasus. If you haven't seen my videos from Georgia, you can see them now in the upper right corner, and then we can make a decision which country is more interesting and what are the differences between these two countries in the Caucasus. That will for sure be really interesting. I've also planned some trips in Europe. Then I also planned this trip to Turkey because I love Turkey and I just cannot get enough of it. And well, if you stick till the end of the year, I've already planned a kind of a longer trip to Vietnam. So yeah, if you haven't noticed in watching me for the past, God knows how long I've been doing these videos, or even longer, my Instagram, you know that I love Southeastern Asia, or Southern Asia. And like being cut of it for 3 years almost, it was difficult for me. So when I finally go to Sri Lanka this year, and then eventually to Indonesia and Singapore, I was so happy. And I'm so happy that I will be able to visit this part of the world again next year. And it's like almost 10 months in advance. I really can't wait because, fun fact, actually I was gonna go to Vietnam in May 2020, but then the Chinese person decided to eat a bat and everything went batshit crazy. So this is a new chance. It's even better because then I was supposed to fly from Munich to Beijing and from Beijing to Hanoi, which this time I will fly from Prague, so it will be a lot more convenient, and I can I guess thank the pandemic that it happened. That's too much of a stretch, right? Well, anyway, I hope you will stay tuned for that because I really can't wait. If you have seen my videos from Indonesia, it will be quite similar, although totally different because every country has its own charm. And I expect there will be a lot more. These are just the trips that I've already bought, that I've already planned ahead, and they are happening. I mean, it's possible that there will be some COVID-23 and I will be screwed again, because that's what happens every time I want to go to Vietnam. But so far, if nothing changes, these are the trips that I am taking next year. And I hope you will join me. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to say to you this year. I hope you will enjoy the end of the year. I will hope you've enjoyed Christmas or whatever holidays you celebrate. And I hope that this year wasn't horrible for you. If it was, then there is still hope that the future will be better. And that's something that we still can stick our hopes for. And yeah, that's what I do. There's no point of dreaming if you're not willing to do whatever you can to make them reality. How do you fulfill your dreams? Let me know in the comments down below. And let me know how you spent your Christmas and how you spent your New Year's Eve. Because yeah, we are in this together. So, Happy New Year. We'll see you next year. I will see you in January. We will start in Bulgaria and then we will embark on the trip in 2023. And if you enjoyed this video, well, not this video, but my channel in general, give me a like, subscribe to this channel, check out my other social media, especially Instagram, because, well, that's a place where I post most things. And I'll see you next year. Bye bye.